Get them fired up and get them to the staging lanes, baby, because 8th Mile Apparel is now carrying Going Bracket Racing merch. Hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and much more can be yours today by visiting 8thmileapparel.com. We appreciate each and every one of you guys supporting the Going Bracket Racing YouTube and Facebook pages.
What's up, everybody? Casey and George here on October, what day is it? 28th. I got to look down here in the bottom of the screen. 5:37 p.m., 7 minutes late. I saw you out there, Bill Batson. I saw you calling us to the lanes. GBR to the lanes, he says over here in the YouTube chat. We're here live on a Tuesday, as we are most every Tuesday. YouTube, Facebook, Spotify's on Wednesday, Apple Podcast, all kinds of stuff. Anywhere that you can find any sort of information on anybody else's channel, you can find GBR there too. Search Going Bracket Racing and they will show you what's going on. I'm reading over here this chat on YouTube. I don't know how Facebook's going right now, but YouTube, I'm telling you, is blowing up right now. Get your comments in and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about on this show because it's always wide open every single week. We might have some ideas, but if we got some questions in there, we got anything worth talking about, we'll talk about it. Again, we got to always thank those people that bring this to you for free every single week on all the platforms. TSR Racing Products, go to them for your Power Glides, your Turbo 400s, 350s, 727s, anything you need. Go over there and get those things freshened up. Get ready for the 2026 season if that's what you're looking towards. We still got a lot of racing left in 2025. Some of you might need to freshen it up halfway through. TSR's place to go. BRG 3D printed parts. Anything you need over there, got any kind of custom parts and accessories you want, hit up Brian Garrett and he'll make it happen for you. BRG 3D printed parts, Syntex Printing out there in Temple, Texas. Get all those fresh new decals you need for 2026 over there. Sticker shirts, brochures, anything you need for your business. Syntex Printing, Driven Racing Oil. They got some products you might see on our Facebook page that I posted a little bit earlier. All you deer hunters, they got some oil for those well, we don't want to get, you know how it goes on the internet.
It's banned.
Those pew-pews. That's what I'll say. But you can use GBR10 and get yourself 10% off that type of oil too. Just like you can get GP1, you can get transmission fluid, you can get oil for your truck, you can get all kinds of stuff. And you can use GBR10 and get yourself 10% off every single thing over there. Proform Parts. Visit proformparts.com for your shop tools, your carburetors, alternators, accessories. What else have I not said? Starters, radiators. Go on their website, proformparts.com. You can figure out what all they offer. Crew Chief Pro software. If you're still racing, if you're getting ready to go down to Florida and go racing for that winter series, then you need some Crew Chief Pro software, and that's probably the quickest place to get it because Don Higgins might be down there anyway. I think he's down there in Jupiter anyway. Gearhead Solutions. Thousands of parts and accessories over there. Get with Trevor over there. Great parts, great customer service. Get stuff a lot of times overnight. He always looks up whatever's going to get it to you fastest because he's a racer himself. I saw his car doing a pretty good size wheelie at the Spring Fling Door Car race. In fact, it has Spring Fling logo right over that Gearhead logo, I noticed. Mid-State Dragway out there in Havana, Illinois. Our newest partner here on GBR, man, they did a great job this season. They're constantly making improvements over there at that facility. I wouldn't be surprised here in the near future if you don't ever have to park on that green stuff ever again. But Sean's got it going on out there. Greg's doing a great job with all the track management and everything. And a lot of people saying it's the best program out there in the Midwest. Mid-State Dragway 2026 needs to be on your list. George, I think that's all I have to say for right now. So what do you got going on, man? A little bit.
Hey, man, not much, man. Yeah. I was coming in a little hot too, guys. I have a life outside of GBR as well, and let's just say life called there for a second. So
had to take care of something there before I jumped in. I was messaging Casey. I was like, well, we're gonna be coming in hot, man. Make sure Smokey and the Bandit ain't out there, or the Bandit, I should say. I don't want to get no tickets coming into the house. So, yeah, man, it's nice. I see Ed over here talking about the weather has changed, and man, does it feel good. You are 100% correct. I would love to be cold over any day of being hot that there is, period. Okay.
I'm the opposite,
I
man.
like the middle, like the 60, 70 range the most. But I'd definitely rather be in the 40s than the hundreds. So, if
Yeah,
anybody knows
you
what
got
I'm saying,
to.
it is what it is.
Yeah, if you want that weather, you got to live in California where we're not allowed to race. So
Yeah, well, yeah, we ain't moving there. We'll stay right here in Texas and deal with it. You know what I mean? They make air conditioners for our trailers nowadays, so I guess I'll just have me one of those when I get me one of those enclosed trailers. But hey, guys, you know what? Casey mentioned here the season is almost over, but not quite. I don't care where you are in the country. You need to try to make your way over to the Pennington Bros Super Bucks Showdown going on this weekend at Extreme Raceway Park. Definitely a very, very good racing facility will be afforded, regardless of how cool it gets out there. Case in point, what happened last year? It was cold, and we were still hitting the numbers dead on. So I don't want to hear it. Okay, get out there for the Superbuck Showdown. 5K to warm up is Thursday. I believe in the very beginning of the day you'll get you a testing tune from like noon to maybe like 2 or a little bit beyond. But I expect to see elimination start around 3 o'clock, somewhere in that range. Okay, don't quote me. I'm not the schedule keeper. But then Friday and Saturday, let's run for 20. No boxers, you get you a nice little $2,000 stipend. But if you're in that risky business, go ahead and roll that over into the top bulb and try to win that joker too. If you're running no boxer, you're not in risky business. I don't know what to tell you if you didn't read the flyer, but that was not the right move to make, especially if you find your way into the finals. Let's just put it at that. Got some junior dragsters going on. Got a couple of duck races going on too. So wherever you are, if you're not ready to be done drag racing, come on down to Texas, man. We're going to have us a good time. Come on out here and party with us, Casey. I would let you drive Mo, Casey, but you know old George Sr.'s coming in to drive Mo. So I don't know if you want to try to kick him out of the seat, but last I checked, that's a pretty big dude there.
yeah. I got age on my side on this one, but I don't think I want to tangle with him.
Yeah, I hear that, man. So what we talking about today, Casey? There is a lot going on the YouTube side. I got Wilton Maxey over here on the Facebook side asking me some interesting questions about IHRA and Virginia Motorsports Park. I don't have any information there except for what PDRA just dropped, that they will be back for 2026. So we at least know that portion of the rumor is pretty well debunked.
Yeah, and presumably if PDRA is coming back, then presumably they have VMP because obviously Tommy Franklin owns both PDRA and VMP, and the two of the main races are at VMP out of, I don't know if there's 8 or 10 of them. Large percentage. I mean, obviously, even if there's 10, that's at least 20% of the races. So I don't think that we have to worry about that going anywhere. A question that I put up on our Facebook page earlier today. If you guys aren't a member of the Facebook page, you definitely need to click follow on that because we always put stuff up. We don't put on our Facebook page like everybody else. We don't try to argue with everybody. We don't try to really play games. We pretty much ask questions. Almost everything ends in a question mark. That's because we want to know what your thoughts are. We've kind of made it. Forums are gone. They aren't coming back. We kind of run GBR more as a forum of everybody's thoughts and kind of to get the thoughts all in one spot. So that way, if the right people are looking at the Going Bracket Racing Facebook page, they can maybe make the sport better for everybody. That's the reason why there's a lot of stuff on there that the page is called Going Bracket Racing. Obviously, 90% of our focus is on bracket racing. And then there's 10% elsewhere because you can take stuff from every facet of drag racing because it's the easiest sport that you can possibly get into as far as motorsports goes. If you like cars, drag racing is the easiest one to get into because there's so many forms you can do it. If you're a rich guy, you can do rich guy things. If you're a poor guy, you can do poor guy things. There's all kinds of stuff. Anyway, the question that I posted up this morning, and I'm reading it right off my side screen. You might see me looking over there. Will IHRA and PDRA compete for drivers next season? What's the end game? 2 questions. We got a lot of a lot of content on there, man. And I'll just read the latest one because it was a few minutes ago. Let's see. Let's just click newest over here and let's just see what people are saying over here. Kerry Seghetti. I can't believe we can't get everybody in a group. If we stay divided, we'll never be great. Want big payouts, nice facilities, great hospitality, get under an organization that's willing to pour millions of dollars into racing like the IHRA. The very next question, or very next comment, I guess you could say, Booty Harris, PDRA has a good following. Lots of people going on either side, but Chip Johnson, another good comment. Somebody told me 10% of the people win 90% of the money. That being said, a lot of the people will stick with PDRA because 10% will chase the IHRA rainbow. I think both will survive. People saying IHRA needs to separate the fast cars from the slow cars in the top sportsman and top dragster fields. I don't want to just go down here and read all these comments because there's a lot of comments in here, but it's something to go off of, man. And I think my overall thought was both of these organizations are running in the same area and they offer the same classes essentially. IHRA obviously offers the fuel classes as well, which brings in all the spectators. What a lot of people fail to realize is bracket racing is a prime example of you don't need spectators to run a great event and make an event profitable. It doesn't matter how many people are in the stands, especially with, like, for example, what you do, George, you do streaming services. People always say, oh, there's nobody in the stands. Oh, streaming is killing drag racing specifically. Well, let me tell you guys, there's this thing you might have heard of called Fox Sports. They televise NHRA drag racing where, been going on just fine. Everything's just fine. Just had the biggest viewed event, widest viewed event. Promoters don't need to necessarily structure their programs around butts and seats in drag racing. Round track racing, that might be a little bit different. But as far as drag racing, which is what I primarily know, what you primarily know, what a lot of us watching this show primarily know, there's a lot of stuff that can be based around entry fee. It can be based around the fact that streaming services allow you the ability to have your stream sponsored, which could potentially bring in that spectator income that you are now losing because you tell those promoters, hey, yeah, there's no butts in these seats. Maybe at your local grudge race, it looks like it's packed because everybody's standing on the starting line. Let's just say there's 500 people down there. There's 5,000 people watching that stream. So what's that worth to you, Mr. Sponsor? Like Miss Sponsor, whatever. What's that worth to you to see all these people and to know that whenever your commercial is shown, people are going to see that forever on YouTube. They could look up a race right now. If you go on here right now, you can go watch Johnny Ezel win the OG Million in whatever that was, 2016, something like that. You can go watch that. That's still up there. So you pay a one-time fee, and then that's there forever. That's where the value is.
Right. Hey, of course, hey guys, I would jump on the bandwagon with you. It may seem like I'm biased because I'm a live streamer. That's sort of what we do with GBR Media. That is what we do with GBR Media. So I don't have anything but agreement here. Definitely on the side of being able to come back and review something. For instance, if you watched last Going Bracket Racing Media stream, it was sponsored by Warren Cat. And I'm pretty sure you saw Warren Cat commercials, a Warren Cat QR code with the careers kind of URL leading you to go over there if you want a job and apply for one. It's just that's the type of people that.
And tell everybody who that is for those who don't know. They'll know as soon as you say it.
Well, Warren Cat Tractor, the big heavy tractor company.
Yeah.
Come on,
Caterpillar.
man. Caterpillar, come on. I mean, I expected everybody to know that. That's why I just left it kind of abbreviated there. But it's things like that that help. And even if it's not live streamed, your family's even if it's not a sponsored stream, your family's like to watch. They can't always come. For instance, I got everybody that follows Going Bracket Racing out in New York and out east and out west. Well, maybe you might not be able to make the 24-hour tow over to Extreme Raceway Park, but I promise if you log into Going Bracket Racing on your YouTube page, you'll be able to watch the stream where there isn't going to be very much of anything else going on, come hang out with us. Chat with us. Let's talk. Let's watch some bracket racing. Tell me if you want a different angle, and if I can make it happen, I'll make it happen right there live on the stream. So I'm never going to be able to talk negatively about live streaming. I've always liked it. It's just a way that I've gotten to see racetracks that I have on my bucket list. For instance, Bristol. Never been to Bristol, but it is a racetrack that I'm going to go to just because I've seen it on a live stream, Casey.
Yeah, man, it's, in my opinion, it brings people, and that's taking a note out of George's book. Everybody who watches this show has watched 212 episodes. They know George. He always saying, in my opinion. But
oh yeah,
Nova fan, isn't that the one that makes fun of you about that all the time? I don't know if he's in
my
here or
man
not right now.
It's Nova.
But,
I don't think he's in a while.
But yeah, anyway, man. No, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who don't know certain things are going on until they see it on the live stream. There's people who have never been. How are you going to get somebody interested in drag racing if they've never seen a drag race? How can you get somebody interested in anything if they've never seen it? It's impossible. They don't know it exists. So you don't know how many people that's brought into the sport. I mean, Street Outlaws, prime example of getting people interested in drag racing and pro mods. No Prep 100% pretty much came from Street Outlaws. That entire No Prep following, which brought on Street Racing Channel and kind of rocket shipped Cletus McFarland and built who Beater Bomb is and 1320. I mean, they were going on, I think, before all that stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, Street Outlaws only helped that stuff because it gave them more events to cover.
Yeah. And again, just taking from Fort Pearly over here in the YouTube stream, he believes that live streaming has made bracket racing more popular.
It has, absolutely.
Absolutely, it has. You know what I mean? It's a good community. It's a place to come and garage talk / well, in a PG manner. Don't get to cussing on MMTV. I know Barn will kick you out of there in a heartbeat. You know, you don't want to do that, right? But it's a good place to come. You've got friends that we've made. Tex Griffiths. I know a lot of names from just going into watch a Motor Mania live stream. You got your Barnes. You got your 66s. I'm just calling out short names, you know, but a lot of people who you don't readily know but share a common ground with, you get to chat with in there too. So, yeah, guys, you know, it is what it is. Hey, watch Going Bracket Racing this weekend. We'll be live. How about that?
Yeah. No, man, there's people too in those chats that they aren't even from the United States. Like there's people from Australia, there's people from the UK, Finland. I mean, there's people who know people they will never meet in their entire life, but they know them through the Motor Mania TV streams, the Going Bracket Racing streams, like things like that you can, I don't know, man. It's a community in itself, but I assure you without live streaming that bracket racing for sure would not be as big as it is, because during COVID times, bracket racing became bigger than it ever had been because we paid millions of dollars literally at one race, not to the whole competitors, not to everybody. We paid one guy $1 million and then paid everybody else too. And that's the thing. And then we did it like 2 or 3 more times. That happens because whenever you pay $1 million for real, then all of a sudden, guess what? People want to jump on board because guess who pays $1 million? Like the Daytona 500, the Indy 500. Like you're in that realm. Right. That's why I always think it's funny whenever, like, I posted that picture of the service truck running at the World Finals, and there were some, you know, typical, you know how drag racing is.
Because I feel like we'll get into that conversation. Don't take too much of that meat, Casey, because we're gonna have to pull that off the bone a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be a wild conversation. Let's just stick to what we were talking about here. IHRA PDRA, because that's what we were starting this conversation. You know, more than anybody, I make fun of George because he says in my opinion a lot, but he can make fun of me as much as he wants because I'll take this conversation from one end to the other and then we'll come right back to where it is. So who knows what we're talking about right now? That's a good thing. Maybe people turn the subtitles on so they can figure out what I'm talking about at any given point.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, Casey, one other thing that we really have to understand, and it's kind of been brought up or just glossed over a little bit, which I feel like is going to be a large topic. This stream's titled 2026 already looking solid. We've seen TB Racing Promotions come out with a really, really solid schedule for 2026. A little bit more going out in the east, it looks like, Casey, out in your neck of the woods. With I think I saw a triple 50K out there somewhere. And I don't have
Virginia, I think.
right out in front of me, but I know for a fact there's a triple 50K coming out there, and then there's something else that's going to be out there too. So the schedules are coming out. One schedule in particular that I want to bring up just right now before we hit into commercial break and then kind of gloss it real hard, Casey, is the Fling Boys. In September, beginning of September, week 1, we have the race in Norwalk, I believe. But shortly after, in about week 3, right there around the most prestigious bracket race in bracket racing, period, history, whatever you want to call it, the OG Million, we have the race in Bristol, which goes on from September, I believe it starts the 22nd. Hello, scheduling conflict, in my opinion. And I don't care that I said it because that is what it is. Anybody who wants to speak to me about what we're going to do with the short-sighted thing. On one side, we have here a week before the OG. On the week, what I think, because the OG Million hasn't been announced yet, it's the week of the OG Million where the race in Norwalk is. Somebody's going to have to help me understand that. We're going to need Michael Beard's master schedule pretty big time in 2026.
Yeah, man. I wonder if that's I wonder what the deal is with that, because maybe it was a scheduling accident. I noticed that looking at the calendar, there's not a full week, I believe, in September of 2026. So I'm scrolling through right now. So that fling race is scheduled the 22nd through the 26th. So the following week, September only goes to the 30th. So that only goes to Wednesday.
Right.
So, I mean, November or October, I guess it would be. That's starting to get pretty late in the year for the OG Million, I feel like, being that October 1st time, something like that, especially in St. Louis. We both grew up in that general vicinity. We know how the weather can be very unpredictable at that time. And then you said also that, and we looked it up, that the Cup race, the Winston Cup race or whatever it is now, Nextel, whatever it is now, I don't know. But the Dale Earnhardt organization, the Richard Petty organization, whichever one that is now, that's on the 13th in St. Louis at Gateway.
Yep.
And I assure you, nothing's happening during that week. There's not going to be stacking. There's not going to be any of that stuff. So we're not going to be able to start Monday the 14th, because I can tell you right now, nobody cares about anything whenever that Cup race is going on.
That's fact. And just like you just mentioned, Casey, number one, it isn't that they wouldn't allow stacking during that time.
Where are you going to put them?
You won't be able to stack during that time because everybody in the far distance, I don't care where you're coming from, especially out of the Illinois side of places, there's a lot of NASCAR fans in that side of the country. Worldwide technology will be packed to the brim for a Cup race, okay? So not that they wouldn't allow them to stack, they're not going to be able to, at least from what I could see here, Casey. And generally, stacking starts on Sunday for the Race of Champions to begin on Monday. And I just don't see that happening. That's why I'm making an educated guess that the OG is going to happen in that 20th date range, right on top of the Norwalk fling.
That would be wild.
The Bristol fling.
Yeah, that would be wild, to say the least.
Yeah.
I don't know how they'll do it. I guarantee you, if that Cup race is scheduled, it isn't moving. So they technically, the Cup race is supposed to be out of there on the 13th.
I got another one for you too. Thanks to Robert Keister. If I said your last name wrong, my man, my bad. St. Louis's national event is right there in the beginning of October, and it's either the beginning of October or the very end of September, and then following that is a double divisional right there in St. Louis. So he's definitely right about that, to say, yo, if you don't get that third-ish week in St. Louis, man, you're not racing in St. Louis until third week of October. Yep. And we know that ain't gonna work.
And you also know that the amount of cars that they brought in the last 3 years that they've been at Gateway have been record car counts. So, the drag strip wants to have the OG Million there. So it's not like they're
Yeah.
going somewhere else. And the
Yeah.
OG Million's been successful every single year. They've been more and more successful. So they're not going anywhere else.
Yeah.
So, dude, I mean, that would be a crazy scenario if that ended up happening. If a fling race ended up on top of the OG Million, I don't know. Surely that wouldn't happen. Surely that would be a mistake, just a typo thing, or people haven't released their schedules. But I don't know what would happen in that scenario, because in my mind, the only thing that could make a Biondo race not be a banger would be to schedule it on top of the OG Million. Because I think the people that are running the OG Million care. It's not about the deal. We all know that. It's not about how good of a deal it is. It's about the prestige of winning that race. That is what matters. And there's only one OG Million. And I think that, I don't know, man. There's been a lot of racers at the OG Million, but there's a lot of racers in the country, so maybe they could do it both at the same time, but I don't think it would be a good idea.
Yeah, man, and another thing you really have to pay attention to around this time of year in Bristol, we've seen it I feel like it's been the last 2 years. How many people are going to be ready to just hurry up and sit in the rain in the mountain, as opposed to go to the Million, where they know generally this is prime time racing conditions in St. Louis. The hoodie weather is just about right there, and the air pressure, the air for a race car is going to be superb, and that is according to Crew Chief Pro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. I've heard a lot about Bristol as well, by watching some Pro Mod podcasts and stuff. Some major PDRA guys, both champions. One of them winning the World Series of Pro Mod, and they've said flat out that they heard that. Well, first of all, they had a lot of bad things to say about, I want to say, the right lane. Jason Harris actually said something like he thought a 2x4 was epoxied into the track or something somewhere in the right lane. But he also said that NHRA, he had heard, isn't even going to go back to Bristol unless they fix the track, because it's in bad shape, I guess.
Right.
So,
I've been hearing it. And as much water floods through there, man. One thing that we learned this year, and I feel like it was this year, but out there at Old Tentuck, Bowling Green Raceway. However, whoever keeps that track needs to go in other places that rain that often, because they continually bring that track off from underwater and out from underwater over and over and over again. And I feel
water.
like
Wasn't that the one that was literally underwater?
Yeah, I think we could have got some jet skis, some wave runners out there. There was enough water out there. I could be exaggerating. I don't know, guys, but
it looked deep. I mean, it was up on the tower.
That would have been fun, man. That would have been fun. Let's live stream that.
Yeah, it was up on the tower, man. So, I mean, it had to be high. I mean, bare minimum to see it substantially on the tower, that has to be 3 feet high minimum. So,
yeah, I mean, shoot. But yeah, man. And anyway, Casey, I'm getting yelled at by Tom Worthington because you know what time it is. So I'm gonna cut off into let our marketing partners have a few words, few moments of the time of the viewers that frequent the Going Bracket Racing live podcast. Hang in there, don't go anywhere. Like and share. Be right back.
The cooling fan is completely re-engineered with Proform's universal brushless electric fan, the ultimate upgrade for your vehicle's cooling system. Our 4 models deliver between 2,100 and 4,200 cubic feet per minute, providing 50% more cooling power than the competition. The advanced brushless DC motor ensures a lifespan at least twice that of traditional brushed fans. Installation is a breeze. No vehicle-specific controllers needed. Just connect the positive and negative wires to any 12-volt system, and you're ready to go. Weighing in under 5 pounds with a 3-inch profile makes the Proform brushless fans the best power-to-size ratio fans on the market. Don't settle for the limitations of yesterday's technology. Get Proform Parts brushless fans for a cooler, more efficient, and more reliable fan for your ride.
BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts are able to provide you with whatever you desire to enhance your drag racing operation. Items like safety belt magnets, nitrous bottle holders, and even quick release delay box mounts are able to be obtained from BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts. Have a look at top-selling items such as helmet hooks and steering wheel hooks, which are proven to make it easier to maneuver throughout your race car. You can contact BRG Motorsports 3D printed racing parts at telephone number 765-729-1177.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Going Bracket Racing. This is episode 212 of those good old podcasts. One day when you guys get time, man, go back, watch this episode first, and go back to episode like 1, 2, or 3 if you can find them out in the archives, and prepare to laugh because that's when we started. All right, so it was way 5 years ago now, Casey, something like that, a little less. I don't know, but long time ago,
Long
guys.
time.
Long time. Hey, thanks to all those who've been with us all this time. Syntax Printing, Ken Jones Performance, TSR Racing Products. Thanks for all those who've joined in along the way. Driven Racing Oil, Proform Parts, BRG Motorsports 3D Printed Parts, Team 14 Motorsports, Mid-State Dragway, 8th Mile Apparel, Gearhead Solutions. I think I said Crew Chief Pro, but if I didn't, Crew Chief Pro, because y'all going to need that at the showdown this weekend. It's going to be nice and chilly. Watch those dew points, because if that dew gets... Anyway, y'all know how to race. I ain't going to teach you how to do it. But, Casey, man, we're back in the show with quite a bit to talk about still. I feel like, man, we might even get another episode out of this. Who knows? But, man, where are we going next? Because we made another post on there, and I feel like it got maybe almost 115,000 people to looking at it, so that's a pretty big engagement.
Oh yeah, man, that's what it's all about. Again, on the Going Bracket Racing Facebook page, it's literally all about just getting the word out about drag racing and getting more people invested in anything, whatever it is. Bracket racing, we talk about literally bracket racing, no prep. We talk about how the fact that speaking of bracket racing and no prep, that all goes together where they talk about this little gangsters class, which is bracket racing, regardless of what you guys think. Anyway, we were talking about what last week? We were talking about World Door Slammer records. We talk about a little bit of everything, man. But the first thing that everybody commented was how awesome it was that a service truck was in the World Finals at WDRA or IHRA, whichever bracket finals it happened to be at. And I thought it was awesome because I was like, this is what bracket racing is all about. It's literally about the fact that this guy, in theory, I don't think this is actually what happened, but in theory, this guy could be a track champion against real race cars in his service truck that he probably goes and fixes power lines with during the week. That could happen. That's the reason why bracket racing was invented. It doesn't matter if you're running against some top sportsman car, top dragster or whatever, and this guy's got a $250,000 race car and a $500,000 Renegade, bus and then a $500,000 trailer. It doesn't matter because old boy with the service truck could take them all out. And that's why it was invented. And one of the first comments was a no prep racer. I looked into his profile, so I know what he was. And I looked at it and I was like, the first thing he said was, that's why he hates bracket racing because of slow this, that, and the other. And I said, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I was like, well, my bracket car is faster than what you got on your Facebook profile right now, first of all. But second of all, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, well, why do you want to put negativity into somebody winning races with their service truck? Like, why? I don't get it. You want this to be you want there to be an entry level type thing. The reason we paid in drag racing, and this is not one time, this is a lot of times, bracket racing pays the most money of every single form of drag racing. The next place that could possibly pay $1 million to win is Wes Buck's Winter Series Pro Mod race. And guess what? That $2 or $3 or $4 or $5 million Pro Mod operation, you have to win every single one of those 3 Winter Series races to get your $1 million bonus. That isn't going to happen, dude. That is not going to happen. But guess what? There were 3 times that we paid a guaranteed $1 million to win just to the winner, plus everybody else got paid a whole bunch of money too. And that's, yes, it all got split. That's fine and dandy. Guess what? It still paid more money than any one of these single races paid. I mean, we literally in bracket racing have paid Daytona 500 winnings money. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what people don't ever want to talk about. They don't ever want to talk about the fact they always want to play down the bracket racers. Guess what? Those bracket racers, Gage Birch won the very first, that SFG 1.1 million or whatever it was. He won that in
25.
he won that in a $15,000 truck. So you want to tell me that he didn't make more money than even after the split? After the split, let's say he only got $250,000. Oh no, only $250,000. Nobody wants that, right? Nobody wants that kind of money. That isn't worth racing for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so he split it. Let's say he got $250,000. Let's even say he split that.
I'm not ragging on even IHRA, Casey, but I feel like their pro mod class pays $50,000 to win a race, if I'm not wrong. Am I right?
Pays $1,500 just to qualify.
That's right. So, but how many of those $50,000 do you got to win to even come close to $250,000?
5.
You better win quite a few, is what I'm getting at. And then doing that isn't going to be so easy with the level of competition that's going to be in IHRA Pro Mod, whatever you want to call it, next year. It's going to be unbelievable. IHRA will be next year. Well, just anyway, keep going.
Yeah, no, the thing is with bracket racing, my whole point is that service truck, if that guy knows what he's doing, yeah, it might vary 0.2 per event, but if he knows when it's going to vary 0.2 per event, that guy in his service truck that he uses for work could potentially be just as competitive as anybody out there. There was a guy back in the day with a yellow Cavalier. I want to say he might be the guy that actually runs. It might be Kohlberg, or I can't remember who it is. Steve something. I can't remember. Anyway, beat everybody up with a foot brake Cavalier. Brett Kepner had the Mr. Dirt series. He used to run rental cars all over the country at just random local tracks and dominate people out there, and had a column in National Dragster dedicated to it.
I feel like there was a Kia Soul out somewhere. Maybe Josh Sutton might have been driving that bad boy, and he was hurting people's feelings. I mean, 5th, 6th round. I won't mention any Teslas, even though I know you Tesla boys. Don't get mad at me. You guys, we'll just leave y'all in the class of y'all own.
I saw a post on our post that said, I guess his race car blew up and he got in his wife's Acura or something like that and ended up winning a race one time. There's another guy saying he was dialed like 25 seconds. He would go through in a Jeep or something, and he would go through the 8th mile at 35 miles an hour, and then went through the quarter at 55 and ended up winning a race. But those are the cool stories about stuff like that. That could never happen in any other sport. You can't be competitive with your mom's minivan in any other sport except for bracket racing. You could still race for the same amount of money.
One thing I can't really understand, though, is how you would say this is why I dislike something. Number one, it's in the class that it's supposed to be in, which, Casey, you and I can talk about this in just a minute, about what type of restrictions probably need to begin coming into the sportsman class or the trophy class, whatever you call it at your local racetrack. There needs to be a little bit more stricter restrictions. But hang on a minute here. How can you not like watching a car? I love recording it. It's kind of hard. Sometimes I'll let the slower car get completely out of the frame before the fast car takes off, and then I'll try to catch the slower car along with the fast car, if you see what I mean. Just closing the gap, and then all of a sudden you see the slow car, and then here comes the finish line. How can you not like that? Because, heck, man, half these service trucks and Kia Souls and like you said, Mr. Dirts and freaking, I used to drive an old red 4-banger Chevy Cavalier. Hey, man, we can load you up too. Just like you said, to your point. All I got to do is cut a good light. You're going to have a hard time judging me anyway.
Dude, after all these years, I've ran tons and tons of cars, one of everything after all these years. But the one that I really remember all the time was at Megabucks one year. I ran a, not the new CUDA, when it was still a Barracuda, where it's still a big body car. It had rust all over it. It was like a rusty red color. It was dialed 879. And I was dialed 479. And I said, I'm going to get to his back bumper and I'm going to just lay on the brakes. And I still took it by an entire dragster when my front wheels got to his back bumper. And I won the round. But the fact of the matter is, that's what I remember. That's a cool thought. I was talking to, I don't know if it was James Rainey I was talking to the other day. Somebody I was talking to the other day. they told me some story about some old slow car. Those are the things you remember. That's cool. If you're a bracket racer, stuff like that is a cool thing. And it would be just as cool if that guy, like if I would have lost to that 870 car and he would have went on to go to like, I don't know, 5th, 6th round. Who is that back there? That Henry back there?
Yes, Henry, he's bothering me real
But
quick. Hang on.
But yeah, man, I mean, that would have been just as cool to watch this guy win in something that he's not supposed to win in. I mean, how excited was the Motor Mania chat? How excited was Ryan Gleghorn specifically whenever that Kia was in like 6th round of the WFC, the biggest foot brake race of the year? I mean, it's like, it's just cool to see people win in things that in theory shouldn't be winning.
Not to mention laying down laps, Casey. I mean, again, if you've got it, if you have what it takes to be a bracket racer, which to whomever says this is why you don't like bracket racing, I urge you to get in your car, get in your minivan, get in your little S10, whatever you got. I don't care. Take it to the track, let go off the bottom, and let's see if you got what it takes to get a win light. You don't. This is why you don't like it until you feel the rush of busting somebody's behind that's way, way faster than you in a car that you shouldn't even be racing against, and you loaded them up on the trailer. Nothing else feels better.
Right.
Actually,
it goes back,
but nothing, not a lot.
It goes back to the barriers to entry. There's no barrier to entry in bracket racing. There's always a class for you to go in. And it reminds me of another cool story. This had to have been at the WFC because it got coverage for it. And it was a foot brake race. This guy showed up in, I want to say, a Duster. He drove the Duster there with a scooter in the back seat and a tent. And he wins one of the WFC races and then puts a scooter back in and everything and drives home, sleeps in his tent and all this stuff. Now, here's my point. The point is, this guy wasn't one of these guys, but let's just say he was. Let's just say he drove in, raced, won. Now he's got the bug. Now maybe he's like, well, I have a decent job. Maybe I want a real race car now. And the point is that like any other form of motorsports, you don't really have that opportunity to take your street car, go win, get the bug, and then get a real race car. There's no other form of motorsports that you can participate in because let's just say even your normal, like your cheapest of the cheap round track stuff, it'd be like street stock or something like that, or, whatever. You can't take your street car out there and do that. It's going to get wadded up. It's going to get dented up. You can't do that. You have to have some form of race car, some sort of disposable income. You can't just do something for fun. You can go to a test and tune night and run your car down the track, think that's cool, enter a race, maybe do some good or learn something and think that's cool. And then say, now I'm going to this winter, maybe I got some extra money. Maybe I got a bonus. Maybe I'll invest in a real race car and work your way up. You cannot do that in any other form of motorsports. And it is because of bracket racing, you can do that in drag racing, or else you couldn't do that in drag racing either.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And the only thing I can think of, Casey, maybe, and this is real, this is a crapshoot, basically. Demolition derbies. That's about it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's about it, man. You might be able to put some
work ride.
So hey, man, that's what I got for that. But enough of that, Casey, because we do need to talk about the fact that I'm seeing full-out race cars run against service trucks. I understand if maybe your race car got hurt, but a service truck needs to be in a class of sportsmen where there isn't any race cars. If you had to tow your car to the racetrack to be able to participate, are we really in the sportsman class at that point? I'm just curious. I mean, either that or it needs to be a severe ET break everywhere. Maybe 7 seconds.
It would have to be slower than that. It's very, very difficult now because and I saw him in here. I saw Michael Nark's drag and drive repeat. I saw him in here. Anyway, he's going to laugh. If he's still listening. The sportsman class. What do you do with the drag and drive guys? Because you can't do used to, we could say it's got to be a street car with street tires. Well, now the street tires they have those drag radials that are just like slicks. And you have this guy, y'all might have heard of him. His name's Brett LaSala, owner of the Snot Rocket, which drives all across this country, potentially drives in, wins LDR, and drives home. Like, I mean, that car can go in the 5s in the quarter. It can go in the 3s in the 8th. It weighs more than a lot of these classes are. Like, it fits all the rules. So what is sportsman class now? That's the hardest thing, because he's already proven sportsman class can be pro mod at the same time.
That's interesting. And that car probably has a VIN. It has working
Yeah.
rear view or working blinkers, all that stuff, all the hazards, everything. And
It has to. It's
still,
street legal. It's
still
real, for real.
it'll run in the 3s in the doggone 8. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
maybe that is the issue in itself, Casey, is the fact that we can't really put a set rule on what the break may be or what cars you should be racing against in that class. Makes for an interesting predicament, though.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know what you do. You definitely have to have an ET rule because of that. Just specifically because of that one car that we just talked about. I don't know. I mean, I had a Camaro in the early 2000s. It was like a 01 Camaro, and I think it went like 830s in the 8th, and that was all stock. So I mean, and that was automatic too. I don't know what a stick shift car could do. Technically, a good driver should be able to go faster, but that teen program, I think I was telling you this earlier, because the first thing I saw when that teen program came out for NHRA, or IHRA or WDRA, whoever did it, might have been WDRA actually that started it. But the first thing I thought of is I said, so the rules are you have to dial like 749 or slower. You have to have a VIN number and it's got to be street legal is what it said. I was like, okay, well, drag radials on the Nova, run it in high gear only. It only goes 7 flat. So you put it on 2 barrels and put another seat in there. It's got, all I got to do is go to the DMV and get a historic tag. And now my kid could run that when he's 13 and we'd dominate. And then I started thinking about it. I said, yeah, but I'm not going to be T-ball dad because it's not going to teach him anything. I would rather him run a street car or my truck or something like that so he can actually learn. That program just needs a little bit of tweaking because junior dragsters have gotten out of control. It's insane what a junior dragster costs anymore. And I don't really believe you need what they think you need. You definitely don't need to bring one junior dragster in a stacker trailer when your dad doesn't even have a race car. And I see that a lot. That's stupid. Everybody on here, guarantee you they agree with me. Even the people who probably own it, they probably agree with me. But what I thought was cool, I was talking to my dad about this, and I said, to be honest with you, I said, I'm not 100% certain that teen class, if it could get more traction, would not be a better way to teach your kids, because at the age of 13, you've learned most of what you can learn in junior dragsters. You're still going to learn more. I'm not saying you're not, but that's only if you're running against people your own age. And a lot of times a junior kid, the reason these older kids win everything, it's not because 790 is better. It's not because it's more consistent. Yes, it's more consistent than a 1450 car or whatever, but it's mostly because the kid driving that car is above the age of 13 and is racing against a lot of 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds. What happens if you got 2 sons, 3-4 years apart? You put the oldest one against the youngest one, he's going to win every single sport there is. Doesn't matter if he's never played it before because he's older. I mean, he's just smarter.
Yep. He understands it. Yep.
Right. Mentally, there's just a massive difference between that age range. But if I'm sitting in my car, because that's the rules, the teen series, you run street cars, and kid drives, dad or mom rides with him or whatever, uncle, whatever. Well, I could ride with him and it's slow enough. I could explain to him what's happening right now. Like I could tell him, say, just like whenever you're sitting in classes in college and you're sitting here and you're like, this is why this happened. Like, for example, I went to school for economics and finance. I feel like I went to school at the best possible time for that because it was right in the middle of the housing crisis and the recession. So my college professor could say, this is why this happened. Look at this. This is why we teach this, because this is what happens whenever people do what they're not supposed to do. So I feel like that teen series is just not I mean, yes, it is underutilized. It's not promoted in the way that it should be. I feel like it should be promoted at that age. It should be actually promoted even more heavily than junior dragsters, to be honest with you.
I agree 100% as well. Having your parent in the passenger seat who is also a racer has to do something. I feel like I watched Jake Hodge at one point do it with Easton, and that was pretty fun because he put it on YouTube or Facebook, and he was live. And so I got to hear the commentation behind it. Hey, you're way out on him. You're way out on him. You better start giving some back. I told you to start giving some back, something to that nature, or you're about to take a whole mile, or a super Walmart, as Jake would call it. You know what I mean? And so that level of teaching in live action is just about how everybody feels about going to a job that you've never done before. If somebody shows you how to do it, well, you're going to get good at it really, really fast. But if they don't show you and you just get thrown to the wolves, I think you'll get good at it. It just takes longer. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's what I feel about that. I think it's called Junior Street or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like NHRA is the first to come out with it. I think, Casey, don't get me wrong. I see it happen at Ardmore quite a bit too, so I know NHRA has a class called Junior Street. Yep.
Yeah, I would like to see that promoted a lot more heavily, simply because I think there's a lot better teaching aspect, and I also think that it teaches you how to handle. Yes, it's going slower than a junior dragster, but it teaches you how to handle a larger car. Simple stuff like getting through the staging lanes, looking at people like. You're not getting pulled around. You're not just following. You're learning a lot of things that you otherwise wouldn't be learning. There are things that are valuable that you don't even know are valuable until you finally start being like, wow, now I got to look over the hood of a car. Now I can't see my front wheels. Now I don't know where I'm at. I mean, dude, you could sit in my Chevelle and you'd be like, dude, I can't see anything. I mean, you can't see around the cowl is almost literally at the roof line. There's like that much, like literally an inch or 2 inches that you can see in there. So you have to just know where things are. And that's how it is in a lot of those street cars. And not to mention, think about this aspect. That 13-year-old doesn't have a driver's license yet. They get them when they're 16. You're now teaching them how to drive in a controlled environment. It makes it for better in that. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be taught, but just sticking to the racing aspect of it. I think that me sitting next to my kid in a car where it's quiet, it's not a real race car, so it's quiet. We can actually hear what's going on and I can explain to him what's happening. I think he could learn more in 1 year than he could learn driving big cars by himself he wouldn't know why he's getting beat. And I know that because I've been there. I've been go from junior dragsters to now all of a sudden I'm running Scotty Richardson. And in fact, I'll never forget. One story I'll never forget. Everybody really started trying to hold numbers, like people started figuring it out in the early 2000s. I said, I'm going to do that. I saw J.R. Loebner doing it. And, he dominated the Midwest for a long time. He's probably your age, actually. He's older than me, a little older than me. And he was the first young guy that really started dominating. Nobody on here might know that because the older guys might know it because they probably heard his name, but there was no Facebook back then. So people didn't hear about it like they would now. He would have been the Jeff Serra of the Midwest back then. But the fact of the matter was, I saw him doing that. I saw him pedaling in the middle of the track doing this stuff. I said, I'm gonna do that. JR wins a lot. I'm going to try to do what he's doing. But I didn't know what was going on. And I'll never forget, I was at a super quick race at Gateway, and I was holding a couple numbers. Philip Oakley was too. He ran me all the way to the end because he knew exactly what I was doing. He ran me all the way to the end, and I took it all day long. Yep. And as Adam Boolia says, if you're going to hold it, you got to get rid of it. And I didn't know. I didn't know about that, but Philip did. And it took me 2-3 years to actually figure out what I was doing. And I was winning races because I was holding, but I didn't know why I was winning races. It was because I was killing people on the tree. And at the end of the day, the closest package wins. And you got to there's a lot that goes into it. We don't have time to get into that right now. But the fact of the matter is that I could teach my son that so he doesn't have to learn it the hard way. And he could learn it in 2-3 races, whereas it took me 2-3 years.
Right. Just the aspect of being able to sit right next to him makes it a whole lot different. You don't have to ask him at age 8, well, what'd you see down there at the finish line? Because
Yeah, he
they
doesn't
ain't
know.
going to know what to tell you. You know what I mean? But if you're sitting there looking at it with him, you don't got to ask. You could just basically flip the question. Hey, did you see what I saw? I saw this. You couldn't see it? How'd you see that, Dad? Well, I looked here and there. Oh, then the light pops on that quick.
Yep.
So you're right, Casey, man. That the class is going to be it's gonna give us some pretty good racers, man. And I know that a lot of junior dragsters are doing it. A lot of junior dragster drivers, they're already doing it too. I guarantee it. Because why wouldn't you? This is the time to where you have the ability to teach how to race as opposed to almost coach without seeing what actually happened. You can think you
Right.
saw it all day, and if you weren't at the finish line, you didn't see it. That's all I got.
Yeah, and I can tell you for a fact my kid's exact response right now. I could go out there and ask him right now. He could throw something, hurt himself, whatever, I don't know, run around the corner with socks on, fall over, and I'll say, "What are you doing?" And he'll look right at me. And he'll say, "I don't know." That's how I feel at the finish line.
Jeremy's reporting that Jason Phillips' son is already doing this,
Yep.
and if you put that kid next to Jason Phillips in a street car, going down
He's
a
the king of
racetrack,
that stuff.
and that young man right there, I don't even know your first name yet, Mr. Phillips Jr., but he's going to be one tough customer if he picks up on anything Dad's putting down. So
Jason
that's what
Phillips is another one of those. He's been on this show. Jason Phillips is another one of those people that you don't know because Facebook didn't exist back then.
Oh yeah, definitely a very very solid racer, So, but anyway, Casey, man, we're coming up on that hour. I know we were about 7 minutes late, but we're about 4 minutes from that late time. What you got in
Let me
closing,
ask you this. Speaking of Jason Phillips, if bracket racing was as big as it was right now, and has been for the last 5 years, do you think, let's talk 20 years ago when Jason was running that Mustang and was like destroying everybody, winning all kinds of stuff? And we'll throw Ricky Thomas in too. You think that they won the WFC by now? I think so.
If not won it, extremely extremely close. Maybe in the finals a couple times, and that goes for the both of them. Jason was, like you said, man, there were some racers that just because of Facebook and lack of live streaming, they were ahead of their times and people didn't really understand it. I had the privilege to race Jason in my red 4-banger Chevy Cavalier at Benton, like I told you. That car would run like 960s in the 8th or something like that. Well, Jason's in that Mustang. I was 001 or 2. Jason must have been like 20. But I thought I had him and got the lifting on him. And then I heard his RPMs just kick way up, and he rolled right past me because he had nitrous in his car. And that was the first time I'd ever run up against a race where there's nitrous in a race car like that. I mean, I'm in a street car. I wasn't expecting that.
Jason had,
just saying, he was ahead of his time, man. He had a lot of tricks.
Yeah, he had learned things. He was applying practices that you see today in Top ET or Super Pro, whatever you call it. He was applying those to the street class back in the day. And then you got guys like Ricky Thomas in the big red Monte Carlo who would run Super Pro, Pro, and Street all in the same night. And by the way, that Monte Carlo would go like high 9s or 10-0s in the quarter. And in Street, you're only allowed to dial 12 flat. And guess what? Ricky Thomas could pedal it 3 or 4 times, and he could put it within probably a couple hundreds of 12 flat, which is, I mean, he was holding 2 seconds in the days that people wouldn't hold 200s. And this is in the quarter mile. I mean, it's nuts, man, what those guys could do. Ricky's not a young guy anymore. Jason's relatively our age. But in Jason's younger days, when all he cared about was racing and didn't have any other responsibilities or anything, I think Jason Phillips would have won the WFC.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I don't have anything that I could say that, or anybody who would have been better at that time. You know what I mean? So,
except for maybe Ricky, honestly.
Except for Ricky, and iron sharpens iron. They were beating each other up the whole time. You know what I mean? So, oh man, but a good question. Don't forget, guys, to join us this weekend. We're going to be live. There's going to be some bracket racing on YouTube. right here on Going Bracket Racing. So join in, let's chat, get a shot to see a Superbucks race go down if you're not going to make it. I'd much rather see you show up, get in your golf cart, ride over to the scaffold, say, hey, George, what's up? Because I'll be up there standing all day long. You ain't going to be able to miss me. So if you're going to make it, come say what's up. If not, check us out on the live stream. Casey, you got anything else?
No, man, probably no GBR next week because I'm hopefully I will be at the IHRA race at Galat, trying to get in the top sportsman field. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. It depends on who shows up. I feel like the bump's going to be anywhere. I mean, I feel like I can probably go, I feel like a bottom 30. I might be able to get in a high 20 land, but judging by what PDRA was in Virginia, I feel like it's going to take a mid 20 to get in. And I need somebody, I'm telling you guys, I need somebody to sponsor me a 121 Pro Charger. That's what I need. And then we'll be in the O's and we'll be in every single one of the races. No problem. But I don't have that yet. And we're going to go see what we can do, man. If we can get in, that'll be great. I know there's a whole lot of people going to be there. In my opinion, it's going to be the biggest IHRA race there's been thus far. Either way, I'm gonna ride through the pits. I'll have plenty of time because I'll have fuel cars and all that stuff there. So I'm gonna ride through the pits. I'll show you what it looks like behind the scenes, things like that. Because I know y'all want to know. Everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to talk about this, that, and the other. Where we're going in person. GBR will be there in person, so we'll show you what it looks like. If it's nobody there, we'll show you nobody's there. If there's a lot of people there, we're gonna show you that too. So GBR is always your place to pay attention and see what's going on in drag racing. And don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends. And if you see us out there at the track, then come say hey.
Hey, till next time. Episode 213 will be coming at you pretty soon. So don't go anywhere. Hang in there. Be safe. Peace out.